Welcome back to my YouTube channel. We're going to talk about the 10 books that I have on my TBR that I've been hesitant to read and why I've been hesitant to read them. King of Wrath by Anna Huang. Simply just sitting on my TBR because I'm scared for what's inside of it. I've read the whole Twisted series by Anna Huang. I loved it for the most part. That's a conversation for another day. But I know that I will probably love this book. I think I just need to be in the mood for a billionaire romance right now. I have not really been in the mood for it. I've been in my mafia / serial killers lover era.
Stop it. Get some help.
And so I'm not really wanting to read anything billionaire right now. For a while that was all I read, but now it's just not really hitting. I know when I want it again though, this will be the first book that I pick up, most likely. The way that she weaves in the story. Also, I love her sense of humor, at least in the Twisted series. It was very, very, very funny. King of Battle and Blood by Scarlett St. Clair. Look, I really don't know why I haven't read this yet, other than the fact that I read the Touch of Darkness, the Hades and Persephone series, and I felt like the first book was great. Like, I loved everything about that book. Then the second and third book, it progressively got worse, and a lot of people share this opinion, so I know I'm not like going crazy, but it was just not as great as the first book, and I felt like we could have stopped at the first book. So I'm scared that for this series I'm gonna feel the same way. I have had a lot of people tell me that this book is really good and that the main character is very likable. Maybe in like the fall, because usually in the fall I will read billionaire stuff for some reason. When it's cold out, I just want a billionaire. Doesn't everyone? I can only imagine that a vampire is going to be a billionaire too if he's been alive forever. And if he's not, then that's a whole other problem that we have to solve and talk about. Flawless by Elsie Silver. This is a small town romance from what I've heard from everyone else. I know that I would probably love it, but I have never read anything cowboy, and I know that this is cowboy. I live in Kansas, so I should know about cowboys, but I really don't. I have dabbled in small town romances. It hasn't really ever been like my thing. And so I'm waiting until I feel like I want a small town romance because I've heard that they're really like wholesome and cute. The only small town one I've read is The Simple Wild. And because I read that at the perfect time, I loved it. I feel like if I tried to read this right now, I would not love it. I would probably not really like the male main characters because they are going to be too nice. There is something wrong with me. They're gonna be too nice, so I don't want it. That's an issue, right? Like, we should be calling a doctor. I'm gonna do these next two together because they're in the same series, and I kind of have the same reason for both of them. Blockshot and Hookshot by Kennedy Ryan. I have not read these yet, simply because I'm scared of what's gonna be in them. If you've read Longshot, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Longshot was very heavy on my heart. No one could have prepared me for what was in that book. She commented on one of my videos and was like, take care of yourself while you're reading that book. And I was like, I am. Still hit me so hard. Like, I cannot believe how hard that book hit me. I had to literally stop reading for, I think it was close to a week that I didn't read a book after reading that book. I'm scared for what's in these next two books. I love Kennedy Ryan. I love her writing. I'm reading The Kingmaker by her right now. I'm literally thinking of it right now and how it makes me feel like I'm not doing enough shit with my life. It's about the environment, politics, protesting, social justice. It's got everything weaved in there, and it's just making me feel like I haven't done anything with my life. The girl in that book started doing all that stuff when she was like 17. So it made me feel like I haven't done anything with my life if she's 17 and has this much passion. The covers on these special editions are beautiful. I love this one especially. This one is displayed on my romance shelf. I love everything about it. The hair, the nails, the jewelry, the basketball, the colors. It's just such a beautiful cover. I love these covers so much. I also love this one. I love the Longshot cover as well. They're all so beautiful. Special editions are really pretty, and I love when they are affordable as well. These were not that bad, actually. I think they were like $17 each. Love in the Time of Serial Killers. Really the only reason that I haven't read this book yet is because of the cover. The more I look at this cover, the more cringy it is to me. This seems like it would have it all, but the cover is just not doing it for me. Like, even right now, the more I look at it, I'm like, why is that on the cover? But it was very popular back in 2022. I know that I shouldn't judge a book by cover. I know. Usually when I don't like the cover of a book, I don't like the book. It checks all the boxes off in terms of what Keishel needs to like a book. One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. This book I was running after for so long. I literally messaged every person on Facebook that would say they had a copy of this and asked them if they wanted to sell it or trade it or something. I was putting up 5 of my new books to get this book, and I have not read it. I've had this for over a year. I cannot do time loops, and no one told me this was a time loop book. I feel like it says it on the back somewhere. I also feel like when people talk about books, they don't mention a lot of like important things in it. Like recommending a book to someone and not telling them that it's in third person.
Bombastic side eye.
That's like with this book. Like, how can you recommend the book and not tell me what's in the book? So often in the book community, we talk about books and never actually talk about what the books are about. And that happened to me with Corrupt by Penelope Douglas and Never Again.
Never again.
While I do that, I am going to ask for at least 3 references before I take a book recommendation. Synopsis, review, everything in between. Anyway, this has been on my TBR for a while because I have to wrap my mind around the time loop thing. It's hard for me to understand. I can kind of do it in movies because they kind of show it a little bit better. But with books, it's hard for me to wrap my mind around what's really going on. I tried to read Wrong Place, Wrong Time. I actually tried the audiobook of that, and it was very hard for me to understand. It was very repetitive because of the time loop thing. You're kind of going through the same stuff, and that's why I'm very hesitant to read One Last Stop. 56 Days by Catherine Ryan Howard. I actually picked this up thinking that it was 365 days, so I might like have dyslexia or something. No big issue. Realized recently that it's actually a thriller, so this makes me want to pick it up more. I haven't even taken the stickers off of this. Sometimes I see books and I like feel like I will not be able to live another day without having it, and then I finally get it and that urgency is just gone. Now that I know it's a thriller, I am kind of like very intrigued to read it. Reading a Kennedy Ryan book right now, I usually read a thriller after a Kennedy Ryan book because it's always so heavy on my soul. Sometimes I just forget about books that I have too. Like I forgot I had that book. Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. This just hasn't been read because I want to read it at a specific time. So Halloween/Thanksgiving time. It just reminds me of that with all the orange and the black and everything. And also vampires. Like that's Halloween, mostly. It's not that I don't want to read this, it's that I'm waiting for the right time. I am a huge mood reader, and so this being read at the wrong time could honestly ruin it for me, and I would never pick it up again. It just hasn't been the right time, and I know when the right time is. We just need to get there. I'm on page 200 of this book, actually. I stopped reading it because it was very creepy. This is up there with like Candyman, Burn Down, Rise Up. I have never had to actually stop. I was annotating and everything. It was just so creepy. If you've watched Haunting of Hill House, it is that level of creepy. This cover, this is a beautiful cover. I love this cover. I love this book. I just need to read it at the right time, preferably daytime when I'm not going to sleep. Now that I have it in my hand, I kind of want to read it again. There's really no other reason other than like I'm scared. Those are the 10 books that I have on my TBR. I've been hesitant to read and the reasons why. Tell me what books you guys think I should be moving up on my list and which books can kind of keep finding their way down. I buy a lot of books for a reason that should probably be discussed with a therapist. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification button so that you get notified every Sunday when I post. Enjoy your week, guys.